work and sleep. That's it.
Can you see your family? Can
No.
you see your kids?
No. I can't.
When was the last time you saw them?
Before this war.
Sanctions for Russia! Ukraine needs Europe! Sanctions for Russia!
This is Breaking News Edition. I'm Benita Levine. Our breaking news coverage continues on the 7th day of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, with the United Nations General Assembly reprimanding Russia over its invasion of Ukraine and demanding that Moscow stop fighting and withdraw its military forces, a move that aims to diplomatically isolate Russia at the world body. These are live images on your screen right now. There are developments. They're happening as we speak. So let's go straight to New York. We go live to the UN General Assembly. We're joined by our senior US correspondent, Mike Wagenheim. What's going on, Mike?
This resolution has passed, Benita, just moments ago. A resolution condemning Russia's action and calling for them to leave Ukraine immediately. Passed the United Nations overwhelmingly. Final vote total of 141 nations in favor, only 5 against, those 5 being Russia, Belarus, Eritrea, Syria, and North Korea. Not really great company. 35 countries abstained. Notably, most of the countries in the Middle East were in favor of this resolution. Iran and Iraq abstained from voting, but the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, most countries in the Middle East voting in favor of this resolution here today. It passed overwhelmingly and got more than the 2/3 majority needed to pass. The Ukrainian ambassador to the United Nations, Dmitry Kyslytsya, among the final speakers here today, actually held up and played a recording of the chief Nuremberg prosecutor, 101-year-old Ben Ferenc, calling for law, not war. That's been the rallying cry for the chief Nuremberg prosecutor for decades now. A very dramatic moment leading up to the vote here at the United Nations. Again, overwhelmingly in favor. This resolution passes with 141 countries voting for it here, Benita, just moments ago at the General Assembly behind me.
And Mike, this move aims to diplomatically isolate Russia, but frankly, does Moscow really care?
You know what? It's more of a symbol. I think Moscow was trying to project here and trying to get a hold of where exactly the countries outside of the West really stood on that. We know where the United States stands. We know where its allies stands. We know where most of Europe stands. By the way, Serbia, which has very close ties to Russia, came out in favor of this resolution, not just in voting, but also in a speech here today toward the concluding portion of this emergency session. So this was really a gauge not just of Western stances, but also global stances. And we saw among the countries here today, China abstained and India abstained. India also has close ties with Russia. But outside of that, you take a look at the Middle East, you take a look at most of Asia, you take a look at, outside of the traditional footprint of the U.S. and its allies, and countries came out in favor. So will it move the needle in terms of Vladimir Putin's head? Nobody can get inside of Vladimir Putin's head. But in terms of getting a hold on the global scale of where everybody stands on this, I think we have a much better idea now about where countries are going to come down. Even the United Arab Emirates, which has been kind of threading the needle in terms of its support for Russia here at the United Nations, not wanting to anger a very close ally. They've been abstaining from Security Council resolutions. They voted in favor of this one today. It's really kind of a bellwether where things stand right now.
Appreciate your breakdown on these latest developments on the global scene. Senior U.S. correspondent Mike Wagenheim, live from the UN General Assembly in New York. Thank you, Mike.